friend of mine, and we will call her Claire. This is a story about vulnerability, trust, and emotional growth, about how we learn to open up to others, and in doing so, discover new parts of ourselves. Let's get comfortable, take a deep breath, and begin. This story is about someone close to me, my friend Claire. Claire was always the type of person who kept her guard up. She was confident, strong, and fiercely independent. She had built her life on a foundation of control. She was organized and successful, and everything in her life was in perfect order. But beneath that, there was a layer of vulnerability that she rarely let anyone see. When she met someone, let's call him Daniel, everything changed. Their relationship wasn't like any she'd had before. It was intense, passionate, and complicated. From the outside, it seemed perfect, but on the inside, Claire was struggling with feelings she hadn't expected. Daniel had a way of challenging her, of pushing her boundaries in ways that made her uncomfortable, but also made her grow. It started slowly, almost imperceptibly. In the beginning, their relationship was full of light and excitement. They went on adventures together, spent late nights talking about their dreams, and shared a kind of connection that Claire had never felt before. But as time went on, Claire realized that this wasn't just a simple romance. There was something deeper, more challenging beneath the surface. Daniel was patient but insistent, gently encouraging Claire to open up, to let down her walls, to show him parts of herself that she had always kept hidden. He didn't demand it, but there was something about the way he asked, something in the quiet moments they shared, the way he looked at her when she was talking, that made her feel safe enough to be vulnerable. One evening, everything shifted. It was a quiet night, and they were sitting together on the balcony of Daniel's apartment, overlooking the city. The air was cool, and the lights of the buildings twinkled like stars in the distance. They had just finished dinner, and the conversation had grown soft, intimate. There was a tension in the air, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind of tension that comes when you know something important is about to happen. Daniel reached for Claire's hand, his fingers gently brushing hers. He asked her softly about her fears, not just in life, but in love, in their relationship. He wanted to know what scared her, what made her hesitate, what held her back from fully opening up. Claire froze for a moment. No one had ever asked her that before. No one had ever cared enough to want to know what lay beneath her strong, confident exterior. But there was something about the way Daniel asked, so gentle, so genuine, that made her want to answer. And so, she did. In that moment, Claire began to share parts of herself she had never shared before. She told him about her fear of being vulnerable, of letting someone in too deeply, of losing control. She explained how she had always felt that if she let someone see her weaknesses, they would use them against her, that she would lose herself in the process. Daniel listened quietly, never interrupting. He held her hand softly, his touch grounding her as she spoke. When she finished, there was a long silence between them. But it wasn't an uncomfortable silence. It was the kind of silence that comes when something important has been shared, when both people are sitting with the weight of what's just been said. Then Daniel spoke. He told her that he understood. He had his own fears too, his own walls that he had built over the years, but he believed that the only way to truly connect with someone was to be vulnerable, to trust that the other person would hold your heart She had been so focused on maintaining control, on being the strong one, that she had forgotten how to let herself be soft, how to trust that someone else could care for her without taking advantage of her vulnerability. From that night on, their relationship deepened. It wasn't always easy. There were moments when Claire would feel herself retreating, when her old fears would rise to the surface. But Daniel was patient. He never pushed too hard, never demanded more than she could give. He simply created a space where she felt safe enough to be herself, to open up at her own pace. And slowly, Claire began to let go. She started to trust not only Daniel, but herself. She realized that vulnerability wasn't a weakness, it was a strength. It took courage to let someone see the parts of you that you had always kept hidden, to trust that they would still love you, flaws and all. Their relationship wasn't perfect. No relationship is. But it was real. It was built on trust, on honesty, on a willingness to grow together. Claire learned that love wasn't about controlling the narrative, about being perfect all the time. It was about showing up, being present, and allowing herself to be seen. There were nights when they would sit together, just like that first evening on the balcony, talking softly about their dreams, their fears, their hopes for the future. And every time Claire opened up a little more, every time she let Daniel in just a little deeper, she felt herself grow stronger, more secure in who she was. In the end, Claire's journey wasn't just about her relationship with Daniel. It was about her relationship with herself. She learned that it was okay to let go of control, that it was okay to be vulnerable, that there was strength in allowing herself to be seen. And through that process, she not only deepened her connection with Daniel, but she also deepened her connection with herself. Her story reminds me of the themes in 50 Shades of Grey, the complexity of relationships, the need for trust and vulnerability, and the emotional growth that comes from opening yourself up to someone else. But more than that, it's a story about how we learn to trust ourselves, to believe that we are worthy of love just as we are. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Thank you for being here with me tonight. I hope this story brought you some peace, some reflection, and maybe even a little inspiration for your own journey. Remember, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's how we connect, how we grow, and how we learn to love ourselves. Until next time, sweet dreams, lovely friend. Good night, Seraphina.